So we got a ton of Godzilla news that I will be talking about, and regarding IDW too. Both IDW and DC Comics. And this was actually, it's kind of funny because I was away with my girlfriend for a couple days just to decompress and go to Halloween Horror Nights, like I said in the previous video. And yeah, I asked Jason to keep me posted just so I can have news for when I come back. Come back and talk about shit from New York Comic Con. And he said, nothing really big. Watch, they're going to do like either an announcement for Power Rangers Ninja Turtles 3 or Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. And I'm like, yeah, wouldn't that be something? No sooner did I say that, did we talk about that, immediately I'm on social media and they announced Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2. Yeah, and I thought that was hilarious. So yes, we are getting a sequel to Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Why we're calling it that's too long a goddamn name. GVK. Yeah, it's just too damn long. It's too fucking long. But yeah. So let's talk about this crossover. Now, this crossover is going to take place after the events of the first one, obviously, and will actually feature other characters from the Monsterverse. Remember, this isn't the Toho Godzilla universe. This is the Monsterverse. This is Legendary Universe. And we're going to feature some monsters that weren't featured before. Essentially, what it looks like the story is that Lex Luthor has created his own Suicide Squad and has returned to the Monsterverse in order to collect more monsters. And in doing so, he's unleashed some monsters we haven't seen in a while in the Monsterverse. Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. This does beg the question of, where the fuck, continuity-wise, are we? Like, what canon is this in the Monsterverse? I know this is like a different DC universe, but like, where in canon in the Monsterverse? Because Lex Luthor creates the Monsterverse Mechagodzilla, and he does use technology from Apex, and I'm just thinking to myself, Ghidorah's dead, like, by that point. So, and Rodan is nowhere to be seen. Mothra I get. Like, Mothra got resurrected in New Empire. And my friend Matt Denny and I were kind of thinking that's probably where the thought process is like, we're going to do stuff with New Empire and have like the Scar King as the big, Scar King as the big villain. And yeah, have Grodd team up with Scar King, because he was like, Grodd was all in for Kong as this ape god. So we had this idea of like, maybe Grodd is the one who goes back to the Monsterverse to find like a real god, ape god, and he discovers the Scar King and brings him and his ape army to the Earth. Now again, we do know it's the same creative team, Brian Buccellato and the same artist, I forget his name, but Buccellato did say in the interview that we will be seeing other monsters from the Monsterverse too, so there could be a chance we get Scar King and Shimo, which I think is kind of a no-brainer moment, if I'm being honest, because New Empire made a lot of money. So I'm sure we will get probably we may get the Scar King, but that may be too much. Maybe save Scar King for the third one, but we don't know. Save Scar King and Shimo for the third one, because I imagine they will probably set up for a trilogy. But yeah, the fact that we have Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra says a lot, because while they were able to use Godzilla and Kong, I imagine Toho prevented them from doing more than just Mecha. Like, you can do Godzilla and you can do Mechagodzilla, you can't do this one. They still kind of have to talk shop with Toho when it comes to these crossovers. So I would imagine that that's why we didn't see Ghidorah and the others. And it was also like coming off of Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah. So to have Ghidorah in, like, if you thought Godzilla finally fighting Superman was cool, wait till you see like Ghidorah fighting, Superman or anything. And it does look like the Justice League the Suicide Squad are going to play a big role. How big? Fucking Killer Croc is now a kaiju. We're now from Killer Croc to Kaiju Croc. We do get snippets of Killer Croc being mutated into a kaiju and fighting Kong. And I'm wondering if there are going to be other mutations outside of Croc. Are we going to see like Monster Grodd? Are we going to see like King Shark get turned into a kaiju, or someone else in either the squad or the league being turned into kaiju? Like, the possibilities are quite endless. And again, it is really cool to see more of the MonsterVerse, but of like, it's kind of like with this version of the DC universe, it's like, what canon is this? Because Ghidorah's dead, like, in that, but then again, Kong was still on Skull Island, so it was like, even though he was like at max size, even though Skull Island is supposed to be gone at that point, so I don't know. Maybe it's just like, maybe that works better because we now have a whole universe to play with in a sandbox of its own canon. So we don't have to worry about canon. That's why we got to see, sadly, Guy Gardner eat it in an unceremonious kill by Grodd. Or, you know, see Toyman get killed unceremoniously. So yeah, it's kind of its own canon. But I'm really, I thought the first one was okay. It really works as like a summer blockbuster crossover. It's also fun to note that the Sonic Justice League crossover will also be running simultaneously with this. So you'll have the Justice League team fighting monsters and fighting, you know, Robotnik. Yeah. But still, it is cool to see Toho allowing this, and it's good. It's also interesting to note that apparently in an interview, Legendary Comics did say that they are really eyeing a MonsterVerse Pacific Rim crossover. So I think it's now a matter of not if, but when we get Godzilla versus Pacific Rim. Or Godzilla versus Kong versus Pacific Rim. Who knows what they'll say about it. But I am really looking forward to this crossover. I might do I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a second video of this as a follow-up, talking about, like, ideas with my good friend Matt Denian, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2? What are you hoping for? What kind of monsters are you also hoping to see? Do you want to see Scar King, or do you want to see, like, being held off till the second movie, into, like, a third book, excuse me? Yeah, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.